Welcome to Cigar City Radio episode number 30. I'm your host, Randy Ojeda, and making the magic happen, Mr. Jason Solanes.
Randy, have you ever wondered what it was like to have an incredibly bulbous
What? What?
I'm just asking. What would that be like?
You know, I'm going to pretend that you didn't say that and instead tell you about the number 30. This is our 30th episode, Jason. Do you know what that means?
Tell me all about it, Randy.
According to the Symbolic Meanings blog, the number 30 deals with explosive creativity and discovery.
Much related to what I just said.
Yeah, explosive indeed.
It's about to get creative in here, Pepper.
For more episodes, head to cigarcityradio.com or subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search for Cigar City Radio. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and on all those networks, our username is Cigar City Radio.
Don't miss the Fantastic Plastics this summer on Vans Warped Tour. Catch the Fantastic Plastics on the Full Sail University stage, performing songs like TV Head and Teleport from their EP Invasion, out now on Spotify. From June 16th to July 2nd. Tickets are on sale now at vanswarpedtour.com.
I know what you're going through. I'm gonna teleport to you. I know what you're going through. I'm gonna teleport to you. Think fast, at last. We're through living in the past. I know what you're going through. I'm gonna teleport to you.
Our guest on this episode is Matt Fiedler, the co-founder and CEO of Vinyl Me Please, the best damn record club out there. Starting at $25 a month, Vinyl Me Please will send you a brand new record every month, along with original art prints, custom cocktail recipes, access to their member-exclusive online store, and more. Previous records include an exclusive edition of the Gorillaz' Demon Days, which just came out last month, Beck's Odelay, the Fugees' The Score, and tons of new and classic records. Vinyl Me Please also just announced their May 2017 Record of the Month, Fiona Apple's Title, which is getting its first ever vinyl release, remastered from the original analog tapes. It also comes with a lyric book and an exclusive art print. There's also a great article on the Vinyl Me Please blog about how this one took 2 years to come together. So to subscribe or check out their incredibly curated online store, that's right, incredibly curated. Ugh. Head to vinylmeplease.com. So here it is, an explosively creative episode number 30. We share that.
Nice. That's awesome.
But so Vinyl Me Please, the best damn record club.
Yeah.
Period. I don't know if that's the cat. I don't know if that's the official tag.
It is, yes.
The best damn record club.
It was self-given when we launched, so we didn't have much of a leg to stand on when we said that, but I think we've certainly earned that title over the years.
I would say so. So how did the whole idea behind Vinyl Me Please come about?
So it was my co-founder and I, Tyler. We were living and working together in Chicago. This was 2012 that this was all happening. And so we spent like every minute of every day together. And the times that we weren't together, we were sleeping 100 feet away from each other.
Oh, wow.
In like a really small apartment in River North in Chicago.
Right on, dude. That's cool. I sorry to cut you off, but I went to law school in Chicago.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Yeah, I lived in Lincoln Square.
Okay.
Right on. Yeah, but my school was right near River North. So,
okay. What school was it?
Loyola.
Oh, yeah.
Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up just outside Chicago, so I know Loyola. I got a bunch of friends that went there, and
Cool, man.
know that area very well. So
But that's awesome. So right on. So okay, so you were sharing an apartment in River
Yeah.
North,
Yeah.
and what were you doing?
Yeah, so we were both working at this like tech startup in Chicago that it doesn't matter today, but
No.
at the time it
Like
was
a lot of tech startups.
yeah, seriously. But we were both huge music fans, and often what we spend our days doing at work is talking about music and sharing albums or artists or songs back and forth, and sort of the have you heard this? No, so on, and that type of relationship. And it was just
Yeah.
like I don't know, we weren't working, so we just kept sharing and talking about music. And I think through that, we both discovered a lot of music that maybe we wouldn't have otherwise come across, and really expanded each other's tastes. And this was as like Spotify was entering the U.S., RDO was making kind of a big claim, and the whole model of
RDO.
music.
I miss RDO.
I've been a Spotify lifer, so
Yeah, well, me too. But RDO had a cool thing going on.
I originally loved Lala, if you remember that, back in
I
like
don't.
2006 or 7, and then Apple bought it, shut it down for like 10 years, and I think that sort of became what Apple Music ended up being.
Fair enough.
Their model was awesome though, because it was before you could stream, but what they let you do is you could listen to an album all the way through one time before buying it. And then you could buy like the digital version. So it was amazing because you could just go through and like listen to a record. And
Yeah.
if you liked it, then you'd buy it. If not, then
That is cool. It reminds me of
move on.
like being in a record store and seeing
Yeah.
a record and like, oh yeah, let me put this in,
Totally.
put on the headphones and check it out before I buy it.
yeah, and it was brilliant. It was genius. It was before all the streaming stuff, and I loved it. I was on it like every single day, and I would just follow the rabbit hole of like you might also like.
Oh man,
And,
that's quite the rabbit hole.
Yeah, and Apple bought it and then shut it down. But I digress.
Yeah.
So we're working together. We're talking about music. We're discovering a bunch of new stuff. I got my dad's turntable for Christmas the year before, and really wanted to get into vinyl, but just didn't really know where to start. So I don't know, through a series of conversations, it was just like, wouldn't it be cool if we created a record club for like the 21st century? Like there's
Yeah.
got to be people like us. We're living in the golden age of music. There's so much music out there. So much of it's undiscovered, underappreciated. What if we created a record club that like highlighted one record a month that we just thought was something that people needed to hear? Could be a diamond in the rough, something that's undiscovered, something that's been forgotten about. But using vinyl as a way to like discover new music, and then also assuming there are people like us that want to get into vinyl but don't really know where to start.
Yeah, that's true.
And so that was kind of the original like impetus behind starting the company. And we put up a landing page like the end of that year, collected about 50 or so email addresses, and then like turned it all live January 1st, 2013. In our first month, we had 12 paying members, which does not sound like a lot, but
No.
we had 12 people that were paying us to send them music. And
That's cool, man.
yeah, it was like a dream come true at that point already. So, and it was, for about a year and a half, it was just sort of a thing that we were doing nights and weekends. We didn't make any money from it. It was just kind of a passion project that I guess we had a love-hate relationship with at times, but, grew quite a bit over the first year and a half, and then allowed us to quit our jobs, go full-time. And we've been doing that for about 2.5 years now, almost 3 years. So
Awesome.
yeah.
That's super cool. Do you remember what the first record you sent out was?
Yeah. It was Langhorne Slim and the Law, The Way We Move, which
Dude,
is
great
a phenomenal record.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was hilarious too, because we were clueless, so we were just like, where are we going to buy records? So
Yeah.
we love this Langhorne Slim record, so we go to his website and we just look up the contact information, find the email address for their manager, and we're just like, hey, we're this new record club, can we buy 15 copies of this record? And they just replied, and they're like, sure,
Of course.
yeah, where should we ship them? And I was like, that was really easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and through that, we just, I don't know, we didn't, on paper, we're not necessarily the people that should be doing a record club per se, but I think through the passion of music and just kind of problem solving abilities, we've been able to do it pretty well.
Yeah. And is that usually how it works? Like, do you find a record that you want to put out and then contact the management, or now is it like a thing where people are coming to you?
Yeah. I mean, really, the process, it's not terribly scientific, and that's sort of by design. I mean, with any record that we feature, we're trying to find something that, from start to finish, is like unique and compelling, or genre defining in its own right, or just amazing,
Yeah.
And we've done everything from like 50s soul and jazz to, we did a Black Sabbath record, to
Sweet.
J Dilla Donuts, to like indie releases coming out today and stuff like that. So we feature a pretty broad spectrum of music, and that's sort of the intent of the service. But yeah, I mean, we find a record that we like, and we just hit up whoever is the rights holder and say, hey, this is a project we want to do. Let's find a way to collaborate on it. And we've got great relationships with everybody in the industry right now to where we know who to contact, and we can get those conversations going pretty easily. And then we always try and bring the artist in such that they're engaged and they're kind of having a hand in the packaging, such that, like, you know, if you're potentially going to get thousands of new fans kind of around the world that have never heard of you before, use this as a way to put your best foot forward. Like, like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
So the artists get a hand in actually how the record's like packaged and put together? Like,
Yeah, we do a lot of different stuff. So for an artist like Torres, who is sort of an indie, undiscovered artist, we featured a record, I think it was about maybe a year ago now. She had like a diary that she had been keeping while she was recording the record. So we took that and actually put it into like I think it was like an 8 or 12 page booklet that was included in the record. So
Sweet.
It was kind of this really cool, like, you could see that, you know, inside of her mind basically through the diary, and then listen to the record and get some more context as to where it's coming from.
Yeah.
And then other artists we've worked with, like we work with Wilco. Jeff Tweedy was very involved in like picking it was the first time they'd done colored vinyl, so he picked the color. He did like kind of a couple songs that were handwritten lyrics as like an additional insert.
Sweet.
So things like that. Yeah, I mean, it's a way to, like, you know, for an artist to potentially gain a ton of new fans and to get their records on turntables around the world. And we also want to just do cool stuff. So
yeah, it's totally cool stuff.
Yeah, the better the package is, the better for everybody. So,
and I can see how it's the Best Damn Record Club, because for members, people that are in the club, like, you get not only the record, because I mean anybody can go into a record store and buy the record, but to get like kind of the special little perks and exclusive stuff is super awesome.
Yeah, it was funny when we first launched. So that Langhorne Slim record, we just emailed their manager and was like, "Can we buy however many copies?" And it was the same copy that you could go into a record store and buy.
Sure.
So at first, like, the value prop of the membership was sort of in some other intangible things that we were trying to do at the time, but just were not scalable. And once we got to the point, so just for record pressing, like, usually a minimum quantity is about 500. So once we got to 500 members is when we started to do kind of the special edition, kind of exclusive pressings.
Yeah, because I mean 500 copies of a record is, like, you know, for most like indie bands or something, is a pretty sizable portion. You know?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of bands that couldn't sell 500 records if they wanted to. So, for us to be at a point where we had 500 members, then we can say, like, hey, you know, such and such a band, we want to press your record and we want to do kind of a special edition version of it. It's just kind of a more compelling offer to both our members and also the artists and so on and so forth. So
walk us through the process of, like, if you become a member, how does it work? What do you get?
Yeah, so right now you sign up. We have it's a subscription, so you can subscribe monthly, pay a monthly fee. You can sign up for 3, 6, or 12 months and pay in advance, and then you get a little bit of a discount on the monthly rate.
Sure.
But then every month you get a new record sent directly to your door. It's something that's unique. It's something that's hopefully compelling from start to finish. Is something that we believe is truly worth your time and attention. They're all special edition pressing, so things like colored vinyl inserts. You need like different versions on the packaging, so on and so forth. That's all included, and then those records come with a custom 12x12 art print that we commission that's inspired by the album, and then a cocktail pairing recipe as well.
Sweet. I love the cocktail pairing. That's such a cool idea.
Yeah, it's funny when we first launched, we were finding ways to, like, build more value into the service, and we had this idea of, like, how can we bring back, like, the idea, like, experiencing music, and vinyl from a medium perspective requires such intentionality that, let's find a way to, like, kind of design that experience for somebody. So that's where the art print came in, and that's where the cocktail pairing came in. And it's been a little bit of a staple. It's, some people write it off and it's not, terribly, like a huge value add to them. But for us, it's just a little extra piece of fun that, you get to get with the record.
So do you come up with the cocktail pairings, or do you have like a mixologist that you work with or something?
Yeah, I do not. I suck at I know how to make an old fashioned, and that's about it.
Yeah.
No, but typically what we'll do is, a lot of times we'll ask the artist, like, what were you guys drinking when you were making this record? What, is sort of like the band cocktail or, your cocktail or whatever.
Sure.
And have them, like, kind of play into that. Other times, the band is, not active in that decision, then we'll find other mixologists or bartenders or other people that we trust to listen to the record and then create something that's inspired by it. So, yeah, we've done, the cocktails, I think, have ranged from, like, for a punk record we did, it was like a PBR, a shot of Jameson, and a cigarette was the
what
cocktail
a
pairing.
cocktail.
Yeah. And then when we did Father John Misty, Josh Tillman, he's sort of a goofball, and he wrote this insane cocktail pairing recipe that was like, I forget exactly what it was, but it was like, drink a bottle of vodka within 3 hours and then have a glass of water sitting right next to you, but only stare at it, don't touch it for 24 hours. And then when you like are just about to die or whatever, then you scream oblivion and drink your water. So that was like his cocktail pairing. And
that fits perfectly.
Yeah, and it went really well with the record because he's great at sort of like the sarcastic humor with sort of some really deep undertones. But it's things like that hopefully can bring you one step closer to the music. And I think in a world where we just live based on convenience and everything's sort of at your fingertips, for us, why we love vinyl is like you actually get to have a tangible connection with the music that you love. Yeah. Whereas if you're just cruising through Spotify or whatever, it's like that's great, it's awesome, it provides a totally different experience, but the connection you have with your music then is like very, very shallow, and quite honestly, it's more transactional than it is anything. So the cocktail pairing recipe kind of serves to like, let's bring it one step closer, sit down, relax, have some friends over, and enjoy this record in a way that we think, is best designed to do so.
Yeah, it's more than just like, putting on a playlist on Spotify or whatever. And that's what I love about records is like we live in a world now where there's so many distractions, that it's too easy to like be on Spotify and switch to other songs or like listen or watch a YouTube video in between the record or something like that. But with vinyl, like you put the record in and that's what you have to llisten to until the side's done. You know?
And it's such a communal thing too. Like nobody says, "Come over and listen to this new playlist I just made." It's like,
I mean, I would say that.
Okay, that's fair. But a lot of times it's like, "Hey, come over and let's listen to some records. Like, bring some from your shelf." And I just got a new box from hopefully Vinyl Me Please, and want to spin them and hang out. So it's for us. It's more than just music. At times, it's about the community and sort of the relationships and the people that are around you. And vinyl being kind of not necessarily the centerpiece in that it has to be kind of what you're focusing on, but it's sort of an interesting component that brings life, hopefully, to those relationships and those conversations.
Yeah, that makes sense. So are you still located in Chicago?
No, so we started in Chicago, and we actually moved out to Boulder. It was like September of that year.
Boulder, interesting choice.
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, we were, like I said, we were doing it nights and weekends, so we weren't making any money from it. And my wife and I had got married at the end of end of August that year. And I got a job offer out in Boulder, and we decided to take it. So we packed up. It was just myself and Tyler at that time. We packed up all of our boxes and all of our records and just moved it out to Colorado with us. Tyler hung out in Chicago for a couple of months and then moved back to Virginia and then ultimately out to Chicago as well. Or, Colorado as well. But, we've been there for about 3 years now, and it's a good place. We really like it.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't choose to like just move to LA like everybody else that leaves Chicago.
No, we always joke that like we sort of live in this like really cool like in between of like the music world. We're not in the hustle bustle of like New York or LA, and I think that helps. We don't have a ton of influence and a bunch of labels just like courting us and trying to sabotage whatever we're doing or.
That's true. It gives like you a little bit more autonomy to decide what it is that you want to do and what you want to release.
Yeah, and it's amazing living out there. Like the lifestyle and the work-life balance and all the things to do out there is I don't know. It's like heaven on earth to me.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I've never been to Colorado, but I have a friend that just moved like outside of Boulder, and he sends me Snapchats all the time, and he's like, skiing and then hiking and then doing this and climbing a mountain, and I'm just like, what, I mean, we got the beach in Florida, that's cool, but the scenery in Colorado is just incredible.
Yeah, I remember being a kid, we would go out and go skiing in the winters, and I remember being like, people like actually live here. Like this is your life. Like you could grow up in Steamboat or in Vail or whatever, Breckenridge, and like you're just snowboarding
all day,
7 days a week for however long you want to. Like that doesn't seem like that's a real thing.
No, it doesn't seem like the real world.
No,
it's kind of like Austin actually. Like Austin does not feel like the real world in many ways. So what are you guys up to at South by this week?
This is the third year that we've come down as a team, and it's just a good time. I mean, a lot of our industry contacts are here, so we often, just relationship building, getting drinks, getting food, hanging out. It's a good chance to meet in person. It's kind of a mutual like middle point for New York, LA, and kind of where we're at. So, meeting a lot of people, hanging out, obviously seeing shows, and we're actually this year we're hosting a pop-up shop Thursday through Saturday over at Whistler's.
Oh, sweet.
So we've got that out. Yeah, we've got a bunch of records, stuff from the Vinyl Me Please archive, some like pretty good rarities that we thought we sold out of a long time ago, but ended up finding a couple copies in our warehouse. And then Egon from Now Egon Records, who's like one of the world's best crate diggers.
Yeah.
He's bringing like 3 crates of records that he's going to have there as well. So
Sweet.
and then we're doing some DJ sets today and tomorrow, I believe. Tennis, who is actually our March featured artist, they're going to do a DJ set this afternoon.
I love Tennis.
Dude, their new record is just unreal.
Yeah. So good.
It's amazing.
Oh, man. What time's your DJ set?
I think it starts at 5:30.
Okay, we might be able to make that.
Yeah, yeah, and I think they'll be like hanging out too. So we didn't want. I mean, when you come to South by, like every artist is playing a dozen different shows.
Sure.
So I don't think they're actually playing any shows here, but they were like, we don't really want to play. So we were just like, well, why don't you come DJ and just hang out? That would be way more fun, anyways.
Yeah.
So we've got them coming. I'm pretty sure. The lead singer of Speedy Ortiz is coming and DJing a set.
Sweet.
We got a couple cool people that are just going to come out and spin some records, so it should be fun.
That's really cool. Definitely touched on, I think, the biggest value of South by Southwest for somebody in the music industry is, like, I'm sure you know how it is. We spend all day emailing people, and I email people hundreds of times a year, and never actually meet them face to face. So it's cool to it really feels like music industry spring break here.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And it's it's funny too, like it's technology has made business easier. It's also made it less like personal.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's good to put a face to the emails and get a sense of like, oh, how's that person like in real life? Like, or are they really nice and they just have like short conversational, like, terse writing, or are they not so nice and that's just who they are?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, but
it also, like, the relationship building is super important too.
Yeah.
It's like it's a lot harder to just like blow somebody off via email when you've actually met them and you're
totally.
Like, unless you're an asshole, but which doesn't seem like you are.
I try not to be. I get a lot of emails that I just don't reply to, but
it's hard. Like, we get a lot of submissions from bands and stuff all the time that want management, and it's hard to respond to everybody. And that I feel I try to respond to everybody because I remember what it was like to be a musician and try to get people to just hear you, but it's hard. And then
I think the worst part for me is not even so much that it's the sales things, like people trying to sell some platform, or I get one guy that's emailed me like 15 times now about setting up like exterior, like tap security cards for our office, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this. Stop me. I clearly said no by not responding, so please just stop.
Yeah, well, then the salespeople, they just don't get it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's their job, I guess. So. You can't hate them.
Got to be persistent, right?
Yeah.
So what's next for Vinyl Me Please? What's on the horizon? Any new features, new additions to the club?
Yeah. No, there's a lot of great stuff that we're working on. So our member store, which is sort of the secondary component to the membership, is growing, and we're doing a lot of like kind of smaller limited run pressings in there, like 500 to 1,000 to 1,500 or so copies of certain things. Like I think we have an exclusive to the new Father John Misty record. We've done some Young Thug records in the past. We've done like a lot of really cool stuff that is just awesome to have in this store. And then we also have kind of like a curated selection of reissues, box sets, new releases, so on and so forth, that as a member you can buy. You get free shipping, and it's just included in your next monthly shipment.
Oh, cool. So you can actually like just buy more records through your store.
Yeah, totally. And it's fun because every month we do like a refresh of the inventory and start looking toward like shipping for the next month. And so today, actually, we call it We Opened Our Store, which is like a whole bunch of new inventory that people are just going in and buying. And it's great. It's like, I don't know, it's actually grown quite a bit to where it's more than it used to be, but it's like 30 to 40 kind of a curated set of titles that are just there for you to purchase. And we're pretty competitive on pricing, and it's free shipping. So it's just kind of the ease of getting a box from Vinyl Me Please every month.
Yeah, can't beat that. Free shipping is like that's the dream.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and then beyond that, we're actually we're rolling out something I think going into like May or so that we're calling Tracks, which is more genre-based subscriptions.
Okay.
So the first one we're going to do is called Classics, which is like soul, blues, and jazz records curated with label partners that include Verve Records, Smithsonian Folkways, and Stax Records.
Cool.
So it's a way, the biggest criticism of the service as a whole has always been like it's a little bit too diverse. It's a little bit too broad.
Sure. I mean, one record a month out of the whole world of music.
Totally.
It's hard to narrow in,
Yeah. So we're using Tracks as a way to say, like you can sign up and subscribe to something that, you're probably gonna like on most bases. So that's getting ready to roll out next month. We rolled out something called swaps, which is another thing. If you don't like the featured record or don't want it or whatever, then you can swap it for something from our archive.
Oh, that's cool.
So we have a good set of archive titles or just other curated type stuff that you can say, well, I don't want this, but I want that. And
Yeah.
there's no additional charge to that stuff. So
That's cool. And then, I mean, obviously, as your archives grow, it'll just be easier for people to do that. You know?
yeah.
For our listeners, where can they go to subscribe to Vinyl Me Please and get more information?
Yeah, totally. It's we're vinylmeplease.com. There's a button on the right that says join the club, top right. If you want, you can peruse our archive of previously featured records. There's another button sort of in the middle somewhere that says, check out the archive. You can see the records that we featured in the past. Some of them you can actually go and buy right away. You don't actually have to subscribe and be a member to get it.
Sweet.
So, yeah, just go to vinylmeplease.com. All of our social networks are at Vinyl Me Please, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, so on and so forth. I can't even remember what else is out there now.
Yeah, all the random social
Yeah.
networks. Elo, is that still a thing?
It is, actually. I'm actually good buddies with the CMO at Elo. They're actually
really?
doing some really cool stuff.
Yeah, I like the concept of Elo, but
Yeah.
it just didn't. It got really cool for like a day, and then
Yeah,
but-
the press that they got around being the Facebook killer and stuff like that, they're sort of trying to get away from that. It's actually a really dope thing. It's they're doing more of like a creators project type stuff now. So it's a lot of artists, photographers, so on and so forth, and sort of a social network around those types of things.
yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for coming out, Matt Fiedler. I already fucked it up.